Hello and welcome to Gleaner Farms. Today we're going to be checking out some updates that I've gotten from Pleasant View Farms. We've got a new header here for our Gleaner combine, a little bit more old school style that he's put together to work with this N7 series. And he's also sent over another Gleaner combine that he's going to be hopefully releasing soon. Let me take a look real quick here in the store. I'm not a huge Gleaner guy, so I'm not as familiar, but I think it's the R. Let me see. We've also now, yes, got the R series, but we do have the R65 and 75, and then you can see we've got more normal wheel setups, but we do also have the crawler track option for this, which I thought was pretty cool. So looking good there, Pleasant View Farms. I don't know if we're going to get to using this one today. I do not have the money to go out and buy a new combine, but we did swap our headers out here for the older style one. I think this matches up with our combine a little bit better, and we can't get a new header without getting a chance to try it out. So I picked up a couple of oat harvest contracts here right up near the farm. So we're going to run down here and see about harvesting some oats real quick if I can stay on the road. I've got 3 fields actually, I think, that are down here. We turn our HUD on, fields 18, 21, and 25. And so I want to start with field 25 because it's back here in the woods, and I think it'd be kind of fun to hit a contract off the beaten path a little bit here. And I'm pretty sure it's this path right here to my right that's going to take me back into the trees. So we're going to get off the road here, let these impatient traffic move around us. And I'm going to pop open the map here. It looks like there's a path that's going to take us back here to field 25. So let's see if we can sneak back there with this combine. We are a little wide with this header on, but not too bad, not too bad. I'm hoping that this little path back here is wide enough. It looks like it's going to be. We're going to move through a little bit of a creek bottom, though, it looks like. Luckily, there's not much water coming through here, so it shouldn't be a problem. Chase some deer away. Thankfully, there's no crops in this field, or we'd be having to drive over them a little bit with the outside of the combine. And this should be our oat field. This field's actually a little bit bigger than I thought it was going to be. Nice narrow driveway to get across the irrigation ditch here. And there we go. Oh man, we've got some serious dust on this thing. Nice. So we're going to go ahead and open this field up. It looks like oats do not yield quite so well as that barley field was doing, which is maybe good for us. It means we're going to be able to knock out the headland pass at least before we have to worry about unloading the combine here. I'm really hoping that we can get everything opened up here, and then I don't know, maybe we'll start off a regular worker on this field. I'm not leveraging courseplay in this field. Maybe we'll try courseplay out again in one of the other fields here. I am also trying out the Relight mod here today, and so you'll probably notice that the colors and stuff are looking a lot different. I'm not sure I'm a fan yet. I know a lot of people are liking it. I think it's going to make for some good screenshots. However, everything seems just a little bit too bright. I mean, I realize it's July and the sun is shining, but looking out at the field here, it's just blinding. If I could see the field through the trees. Depending on the angle, like, things are just blinding, and I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm a fan yet. So I thought we'd try it out for today's episode, see how we like it, and maybe do a little bit of compare and contrast, maybe go back to using base game and see what the differences are at some point between our fields here. That might be an interesting experiment. It's interesting to me, and I guess it's realistic depending on where you're putting your camera and how you're doing it, but what I don't like about it is if I look at the field this way, the things are one color in brightness, where if I look at it this way, like, it just looks completely different, and I don't know if I like that. This is a strangely shaped field. It won't be too hard, I think, to get a worker set up on parts of it because there are definitely straight parts to this field. I think the struggle will be that those straight parts may not line up to a path that the helper is willing to follow, since the way that the terrain angles are set up. We might have to harvest at a little bit of an awkward angle to leverage a helper while we go get the rest of the equipment out here. I'm actually tempted not to run the grain cart out to this field and instead bring the truck out, maybe? Or, I don't know. Man, I'm trying to think. Maybe I'll just bring the grain cart out here because I don't know about getting that truck with the big trailer all the way back here into the field. You know, that bridge is pretty narrow there, and we might just run with the grain cart because I think I could get all of this field into the grain cart, and then we'll just bring the grain cart back out to one of the other fields once we get started over there, especially since we're all the way around the field once here and only half full. I think we're going to be in a pretty good spot, so I think that's going to be the plan today. We'll grab the grain cart. It'll be a little bit easier to get back in here, and I won't have to stop to unload. I can actually unload on the go while we're working on this field, keep things moving. I think we are going to take at least 2 passes off. I think this header is actually 2 feet wider than the one that I was using. I think this is a 30-foot head, and the one that we were using before was only 28 feet. So given our performance on the previous field, I feel like 2 headlands is actually going to be more than enough. I don't think we need to get all the way to 3 headland passes. We've got a serious dust cloud, though, coming out of the back of this combine doing these outs. I feel like it was not this dusty when we were doing the barley, so I don't know if this is dependent on the crop type or what's going on with that, but it's definitely unexpected. I feel like we didn't have this much dust on the oats, or on the barley. Maybe that's a function of changes with Relight. I don't think Relight would change the particle effects, though, so that's got to be the combine setup with this crop type. There's a ton of rocks in this field, too, so I'm hoping we're not taking a lot of extra damage to our equipment here. It's kind of hard to know how damaged the header is on a piece of equipment. We've got our combine maintenance bar over there, but I think the header itself we'd have to look at in a repair window to see how much damage it's taken. I was kind of hoping to make it all the way around this field twice and then start a worker off while we go and get our grain cart. However, it looks like we're going to get full right about the time we get all the way around this field twice. So we may have some downtime anyway while we go get that grain cart, which that's all right. I always like to try and maximize what we're doing here on the farm. I have to say, though, this new header seems to be working very well. And I like the older style with the flat bar on the reel instead of the tines. I think it looks really cool. And it does have the adjustments, so you can see here I'm moving the reel in and out some, and then I can also adjust it up and down. So I guess realistically I should drop it down just a little bit so it's tipping that oats into the header here. Looking good. And we're at 96%. I don't think I'm even going to make it to the corner. Maybe we will here. It's going to be close, that's for sure. But we are getting filled up here, so I don't think I'm even going to bother trying to start the worker off 99%. Oh, are we going to make it? There we go. We made it. So let's go ahead and get our pipe up here. And I'm just going to park this thing right back into the spot. We're at 100%. Perfect. Couldn't have asked for a better stop. And we'll jump up here to the farm to grab the grain cart and run it out there. I didn't get a chance to wash this up after the previous contract, so we're running with dirty equipment here. I guess I could have taken a moment to spray it out there, but I don't want a bunch of water in there right before we're going to put grain in it. All right, I think we'll just pull right on up here and get it unloading. I am going to have to jump over here into the combine and get that fired back up, though. Thankfully, this thing unloads extremely fast, so it won't take but a moment here. And somebody was asking me if I could put the real dashboard mod into the grain cart tractor and be using that and show that off more in the series here. And the answer to that is unfortunately no. I can't modify base game equipment to add in the real dashboard. So unless we swap out our main tractor on the farm here and use something other than that Kubota, we're kind of stuck without it. And that's really a downer for me in using base game equipment and DLC equipment, is that you can't modify it. So there's no way for me to be able to make those updates, or I mean there are ways, but that would be violating the terms of service with Giants, and so I'd like to kind of avoid doing stuff like that, I think. Now I'm going to get going on the straight path here, and then I'm going to kick off a normal helper here, and we're going to see if hopefully we can find a line that he's able to harvest on. So if I hit the helper, it's going to want to go on some weird angle, so I don't want to go on this angle. Let's see if I can find an angle this way. So that's a little bit better, but because that's the direction that this field kind of goes, but it's not optimal. Unfortunately, I've only got so many degrees of choice here when we're using the in-game helper, so we're going to let this guy go and work on this just a bit. I'm looking here to see how full our grain cart is. Not too bad. And now that we've kind of got the helper going here and we know what the direction is that he wants to go, we can actually take back over and cut through on our own. I'm going to go ahead and turn our GPS on. There's really, I guess, no compelling reason to use a worker for most of this until we get to a point where we want to unload on the go. And so I'm going to just take over here and do a little bit myself on the helper's angle. That way when we do start to get full in a pass or two, I'll switch over, let the worker drive the combine while I run up and get the grain cart. Unfortunately, I can't use the Courseplay unloader unless Courseplay is also driving the combine, is what I read and understand how that works. So that's a little bit disappointing. I would love if it could just detect that there's a combine on the field with its pipe out and run over here and unload me. That would be the preferred way to do that, but I can understand that it just might not have enough information to be able to do that. I would love, though, if the Courseplay devs could add that functionality to Courseplay at some point, where it just figures out that the pipe is out and comes and unloads. I know AutoDrive is supposed to be able to do that with its unloader, so we might have to get back into AutoDrive. I don't even have AutoDrive on the save right now. I get kind of annoyed with the pop-up windows popping up every time I load the game. And so I actually turn auto drive off unless I'm actually using it for something. We're at about 50% full here again. We've done another round. I think we'll probably try and unload on the way back down here. So we'll keep things moving. We're not full by any means, but I don't think we're going to quite get the rest of this field in one more hopper. So if we unload on the way back down here, where I still have most of a long row, that'll give us the best runway for doing that, and then we'll definitely be able to knock out the rest of this field and get it all into the grain cart, so no worries there. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the GPS and turn on the hired help, and that'll let us jump over here into the grain cart and get all lined up and ready to go here before the combine gets turned around. Alright, so we're going to unload here. I forgot this combine unloads so fast. We probably could have just pulled in the middle section there. Oh well. And just like that, combine's all emptied out. We're at 62% in the cart. I'm feeling like this combine's got enough hopper space to get the rest of this field in there. So I'm going to park this up here in the corner. We'll finish dumping into it here after we get done with the rest of the field before we switch to the other field. And it looks like this is the end of these long rows, but since we're down here, I think we should knock out this little section that we left down in the bottom of the field. We'll get these last couple of rounds done down here before we jump back up and get the rest by the creek. I think we are gonna do the rest of this driving to make sure that we don't have any more incidents that need to end up in the blooper reel at the end of the episode. And for those that don't know, that maybe if you've made it to this point, you probably stick around to the end of the episode, but we do run bloopers at the end of the episode for all the silly, crazy things that inevitably happen while I'm recording a video, so be sure to stick around and check those out at the end. I'm going to be really curious to see what this video looks like when we get into editing. Let me know in the comments if you like the new lighting in this video or if you prefer the base game lighting from the previous episodes. I know as a player, I think I prefer the base game over this, at least for the field that we're in right now. We'll have to try it out on some different maps and some different times of year, maybe to get a full picture before I make a final decision. But I'm curious from the viewer's standpoint, which of the lightings look better, if you prefer how this one's looking in the videos versus the base game lighting in the previous video. I would really just use the previous video as a good comparison. We were running the same equipment in a similar type setup, and yeah, I don't know, I can't wait to compare myself after I get everything edited. This is gonna clean up the end of the field here. I think we're almost 20% full again. So like I said, we're gonna be fine getting the rest of this field into the combine hopper. I'm gonna just drive over here. We'll take out the back little section that's left here before we get that bigger chunk up by the grain cart there. These are some fun fields back here in the trees where they're not that big. You've got the little creek or irrigation ditch here, I guess, to worry about getting around. And I don't know, the fields aren't too big, nice fun-sized fields. We're able to knock out this contract in, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. Not too bad with the size of equipment we've got. You'd have a harder time getting larger equipment back in here, I feel like. So this is about the largest that you'd probably want to run on a map like this, or at least for some of these smaller fields. I guess you could always squeeze an X9 back in here with the header all folded up if you had like the corn head on something. If you're needing to get back here and do any of the other crops where you need a bigger header like this, you'd have to trailer it in for something bigger than this. I mean, in fact, we barely got back here with this header, so yeah, it's interesting. I love being forced to leverage some smaller equipment to knock things out on this map. It's been a lot of fun for sure. Another feature I'm still kind of undecided on if I like playing with right now is the field stones. I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of how they've been implemented. I really liked the Rocky Fields mod in FS19 that Thundar modding had put together. That I felt like was a little bit more my style, and maybe it's just because it represented, I feel like, a little bit more my experience with fieldstone in southern Minnesota. We never rolled our fields back in the day, but we were doing more of a ridge till style farming, and so, you know, seeing all these small stones, I mean, yeah, they definitely existed, and yeah, we could roll them. I don't know, I haven't quite decided how I feel about them yet. Maybe I just need to play with them a little bit more. So I think on our next big playthrough, the next map that we go to when I fire up a new series here, we'll leave them on and we'll do traditional tillage and things like that, and we'll see how it works. The smaller stones I'm actually okay with because you can just roll those in, and I feel like that makes a lot of sense. It's the larger stones that I'm curious to see how that's been implemented. So when we do tillage, you know, how many of the larger stones are going to pop up, because I don't want to be using a traditional rock picker to do a whole field where, you know, for the occasional rock, you know, maybe a dozen rocks pop up in a field when you do traditional tillage. then I can come out and pick up those handful of rocks and roll the rest. So I haven't, I guess, fully experienced that yet. So that's something that we might need to start with those on, see how it goes, and hopefully that's an option that you can turn off midway without having negative impacts on things. I feel like when FS22 first released, if I turned off field stone after the game started, you'd just always see all these stones everywhere, even though they weren't having an effect on your equipment. And I just hate seeing them in my fields. Like right now, it drives me nuts that there's all these stones in here. I know this is just a contract, but you know, I can't help but feel like it's trashing my equipment. One thing I forgot to mention at the start of the episode is we did move the time forward into July. So I am trying to keep the months moving here, episode to episode, not spending more than a couple of episodes in a given month so that we can progress our own farm here. If we take a quick look here at the animal menu, you can see our pigs are progressing pretty quickly here. We're almost to another batch, halfway through with our first set of pigs there. The second set are already starting to reproduce, and that third set's moving through puberty. So we're going to see quite a few pigs coming here soon. I'm really looking forward to it. I think next month we get our next batch there, according to that. So it's going to start snowballing here any moment now, and that's going to be awesome. We are still set for food at the moment. I think we're using like maybe 3,000 liters or so a day of food. I know that's going to pick up here once we get the next batch of pigs out here in a couple months, but I'm not worried about it. We're also coming up here close to our corn harvest, so we're going to be able to refill that feed mill and get that. Well, we'll have to rebuild the feed mill, but we're going to refill that and get it going and see if we can keep up with our growing hogs. So I'm going to run this combine over here to our next field, which is field 21. I believe the best way to get there is to take this little path back behind. I don't think there's a road entrance for field 21. I think we are meant to get there by this little access road. However, I think this is going to be a perfect spot to wrap up today's episode. That's all for today. Kedrick out. Oh, really? The guy's going to honk at me because there's a train? Seriously, dude. Chill. Come all the way up here and follow him down. Oh my goodness, Courseplay. Or no, this isn't Courseplay. Courseplay would have stayed on the field. This is Giant's helper. Right into the irrigation ditch there. I guess that 2 headland passes was not enough for the in-game helper.